There are two types of people in this world. One falls under the situation where they are applauded and constantly praised for everything that they do from school till college. And on the other hand, it's the people who are always constantly overlooked by the teachers and the parents and everyone around them. They are often called the not so gifted people or someone who has to improve. So it really doesn't matter in which of these categories you fall under. I need you to watch this video because I have something really important that I want to tell you. Hi, I'm Preeti and I'm a 24-year-old adult who apparently had it all figured out at the age of 18, 19 or even younger, but right now I am as lost as you are who's watching this video. I thought I would do this and travel the world and live life and meet the love of my life and do all of this by the age of 24, but I have done nothing, or at least I've tried and I've failed to achieve most of the things that I wanted to. And as someone who's obsessed with neuroscience and why things happen the way they do and why the world is the way it is, why humans are the way we are, I am obsessed with the reasoning behind everything and I am here to teach you as well. So let's dive into the video. Back in school, when I was around 8th grade to up until 12th grade, I guess, I was a huge nerd. I used to read a lot. I used to be that student who used to finish her lunch quickly just so that I used to get that extra 10 minutes in school to go to the library and read that book or explore the library. I was that kind of girl. I used to be a topper. I knew exactly what I wanted to do in my life and I made my parents so proud and they used to applaud me and they used to give me my space because, oh, Preeti is studying. Oh, she's working hard. Let her be. And I used to be that kid who used to wake up at 4 o'clock almost every morning or max to max 5. I was a nerd. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, had the plan, I knew the roadmap. I thought I had it all figured out. And cut to 2026, I feel more lost than ever. And for a long period of time, I was very angry at myself because I couldn't make my dreams come true, or maybe I just changed my dreams a lot. I kept reasoning behind why is it that I'm not able to achieve my dream life when I see the people around me who are barely half as studious as I was back in school. They're doing great in life today. It was very annoying, it was very pissing off, and I was angry at the circumstances and at myself for everything that happened. I kept blaming myself, and that's when I started researching and paying attention to people, the way they live. I started reading articles. I started paying attention to the series and the movies that I watch. And from the past couple of weeks, I can say I've learned a lot of stuff that truly opened my eyes, and I thought I need to share it with you guys here. If there's one thing that I learned, it is that you need to keep going despite what people talk about you, despite how your work is being perceived by others. And if you are someone who keeps going, the motivation behind that is also important, because some people keep going only to prove a point to others, only to be applauded, only to be validated by others. But the minute they stop getting that validation, their entire source of motivation goes to the bin and they end up with absolutely no purpose at all, because they tied their entire life's purpose to being validated by someone. And if that someone or a group of people is not validating you as you expected them to, your entire identity becomes questionable. And I was a victim of this for the past few years in my life, because I was applauded a lot back in school by teachers, by friends, by my parents. I was called the nerd. I was happy being called the nerd because I loved studying, I loved books, I loved figuring out life and hardworking, and I loved being associated with the studious kid. I got so used to getting the validation from everyone that today, as a content creator, I can't help but post it on a story or talk about it on camera, because somewhere on the inside I want people to see that I'm working hard. I want people to know that, oh, she's got it figured out, or she's doing something in life. Even though I've not yet done something significantly great, I want people to know that I'm doing something, which is a very toxic behavior, I'll be honest with you. Because if you're chasing validation throughout your life despite the work that you do, the minute you stop getting it, your whole purpose becomes questionable. I recently completed watching this show called The Gilmore Girls, and if you've watched the series, the character called Rory. It's a spoiler alert, by the way. If you don't want to watch it, skip it. I desperately want to talk about this character called Rory. I could somehow relate to her a lot, unfortunately, because she's the character who is extremely studious. She studies well. Everyone, including her parents, her grandparents, the whole town applauds her and validates her for the work that she does. And even if she does something wrong, people try to justify it because no one can physically accept the fact that Rory, the character, can do something wrong, because she's always been the right kid, the studious kid, the amazing kid who can never go wrong. And then she went to college, and then she got an internship, and then the person under whom she works for, he's the first person who tells that she's not fit for the job. And that shatters her, because she's never used to trolls and she's never used to criticisms in her life. She's always been applauded by people. So when someone comes and tells you that you're not fit for something, and even if that doesn't really matter in the long term, and Rory, as someone who is never criticized in her entire life, including her mom, that shattered her so much, to the point where she dropped out of her college and she decided that she's not worth pursuing the career that she has been dreaming her entire life. And it took a whole village to get her back to college. So my point being that she is someone who was applauded a lot. So more than the work itself, she was working towards being validated by everyone around her. And when she didn't get that validation, when she was criticized by one person, that shattered her. And the exact dream that she had her entire life, she just decided in a second that she didn't want it, because she didn't get the validation for it. So the question here is, did she really love her job, or was she just behind the validation that she got? But honestly, I can't blame her, because if you've spent your whole life chasing validation from people, it's hard to just divert your dreams and attention to the actual work. You know what I mean? So that's when I came across this article. It's called The Art of Being Overlooked, Stay Silent on Your Grind. It is by Forbidden Files. It's on Substack. You need to read it. So I was reading this article today morning, and I couldn't help but connect this particular article with the story of Rory from Gilmore Girls, because this says that people who are overlooked throughout their young days, and those people who work for their dreams despite not being applauded, are the exact ones who make it in life, because they're not chasing for validation. They know for a fact, and they're used to the fact that no matter how much work they do, people never applaud them. People never tell them that you're doing a good job or you're doing great. So these are the kind of people who are used to the fact that maybe validation will come later in life, or maybe the success that they're working for might take months or years to achieve, and they're okay with waiting. They're patient enough to sit and work on the goals instead of dreaming about who will congratulate me, who will think that I'm good enough, who will come to me and tell that you're doing an amazing job. They don't care about all of this. All they do is work with zero expectations. And it's these kind of people who make it in life, because the people who are talented enough and the people who are highly gifted, the most gifted student or the most talented athlete who is training for something, they're used to getting praised since day one. Their brain gets used to training for receiving that praise. And if they don't get it even for one day, and worst comes worst, if they get criticized for their work, their world will be shattered completely. People who are always being praised, their brain gets used to wondering if people will notice them, if people are realizing that they're doing a great job, if people are telling and talking about the fact that how good of a person he is, or how great his work is, or how successful she is, when in reality no one really cares about you. But the people who's never been applauded in their entire life, they don't care if others are coming and telling you how good of a job you've done. All they care about is if their work is actually good, and they spend years and years honing their skill in the work that they care about, instead of worrying about what other people are talking about them. And that's where success lies. This brings me to the topic of content creation today. I know that a lot of people are posting videos consistently and not getting views, and when you especially see others who have started later than you and they have gone from 0 to 100k followers in a few couple of months, when you, on the other hand, is just dreaming of 10k followers in the next couple of months, I know it's hard, and I am one of you right now. I am one of those people who's been creating content consistently, and yet I've not seen my results. Looking back, even though I love creating content, I have attached my happiness of creating content directly on how people react to it, and that was the biggest mistake I did in my entire life. Instead of focusing completely on just creating content, I focus too much on what people are talking about me, how many followers am I getting, that at a point I had to literally take a huge break from content, because I was tired of not getting the views that I thought I deserved. And this is not just about content as well. You might be working in corporate, you might be studying, you might be a dancer, an artist, a writer. If you're thinking that you're not getting the recognition that you think you deserve, it will take time. It might take time, but I know you will get it if you're consistent with it. But my point is, people who need to wait a little longer to get that validation, learning one of the most important skills of life, and that is patience. Because if you're someone who is getting everything that you want on the exact day that you expect, you don't know what patience is, and you don't know how it feels when you're rejected. And when suddenly, after years of success, when you're getting rejected, you will have no idea how to deal with it. But if you're someone who is faced with rejection, criticisms, delay in success, if you want to call it, you know how to deal with failures. So even if you are faced with something similar in the future, you know exactly how to deal with it, you know how to face it. So you're learning one of the most important skills, and that is how to deal with failure and rejections and delay in things that you want to get. And you might not realize it today, but 10 years from now, the people who got everything that they wanted only know how to handle success. They do not know how to handle with failure, and I think that is one of the most dangerous place to be in. So it really doesn't matter if you're 15 or 30 or 40, as long as you're giving in your best and you know that what you're doing is something that you deeply care about, success will come to you. So if you feel like it's taking more time than usual to reach success, just remember that everyone has their own time and place to gain success, to meet the love of your life, to do the things that you've always wanted to do. So I've read this quote somewhere which says that if your goal is to experience, you always win in life. And I think that's so true, yet it's so hard to implement, because at the end of the day, I understand we want success, we want fame, we want validation, and you will get all of that. But depending on it completely, depending on the numbers completely, if you're a content creator, or depending on a particular type of success, no matter in which field you are, I don't think that is really the way to go. And as hard as that is, if you train your brain to focus on the experience, to focus on improving the skills that you are currently working for, everything flows to you. It's just a matter of time.